and they're living on the streets.
Vehicle is a white van, unknown license.
I've seen a flying saucer.
3, 2, 1.
So welcome back to the Lost Frequency Podcast, and today we had Bettina on. More of that later after these messages.
And he's Tom, and I'm Rye.
And I'm Tom, and he's Rye.
Yes.
Yeah, that way you get to hear my voice too.
Tom and that's the motorbike?
We have a ton of motorcycles here.
Yeah.
We always do these things where we
do things?
Yeah, we do a lot of things. We tomato sandwiches, jackhammer holes in the street, all kind of stuff.
Jackhammer holes.
What? Hey, I'm good. I've done that before.
Well,
at the airport, I used to put.
Okay, with the condition of these roads, man, I'm sure there's some people out there jackhammering some of those holes in the streets, man.
Yeah, you would think there's somebody running like some random like a serial killer, but he does just jackhammering instead.
Yeah, middle of the night, no one's there.
He's just driving around with an air compressor.
It's because it's rainy season right now. It's those holes are getting deeper and deeper.
Yeah,
and they get hidden because the water is all pooled around there, and you don't even know there's a hole in there. And the next thing you know, it's like bang. Like,
oh man, I mean, I'm lucky because I have a little bit of height clearance on my truck.
You do,
but with you probably are you scraping?
I got the little SUV.
Are you scraping?
No,
you're getting lucky. You're just being a little more cautious.
Yeah.
Anyhow, so what I wanted to ask you. Now,
circle back.
Now, of course, it's because I don't want to say what I want to say after this, but I'm definitely going to give you a chance.
What do you want to say? What do you want to say?
About the subject
what do you want to bring
up. About the subject I want to bring up.
No, I'm giving you a hard time. Come on.
It's completely normal.
Now you're all serious.
No, I'm not. I'm just trying to make sure that I stay on point. That's
okay.
all.
Okay.
I get lost in the sauce sometimes. You know that. So, what do you think about Alex Jones?
So, what do I feel about Alex Jones? Okay, so not a light question. You're bringing out like the heavy hit or like a deep question here. That I don't know. I question it often. I wonder, is he controlled opposition or is he legit? He brings up some amazing points, but it's a little crazy. And the first time I heard him was back in 2012, and my first impression was this guy's a nut job. Like, really? This guy is sitting and screaming and yelling, and I'm like, who is this guy? And that was my first impression. But, a lot of the shit that he's been saying
is spot on. I mean, he's just...
And I'll say a lot. Yeah, a lot. Not all.
The first time I heard about him was one of my favorite comedians who ever walked the face of this earth, the great Patrice O'Neill. If you get a chance, look at him. He's just fantastic. And he was on the show called Opie and Anthony.
Okay,
I'm a big fan.
I know that
I'm
one.
a big Opie and Anthony fan. And he did an interview with Alex Jones. And he said the reason he thinks that he is so crazy and wild is because he has to. He has to seem crazy and wild. He says, for you to get to where you are, his analogy he uses that he shoves marbles in his butt. Because it's like, so to be able to reach that wider audience, to get the truth out, you have to seem crazy so that they kind of like dismiss you.
And fair enough, I guess. And he definitely sounds crazy. I think you've done an impression of him once before, but
yeah, ladies and gentlemen, I got the documents right here, and they're looking at me right now. Oh, okay, I need to shut this down. Okay.
Oh, come on!
You ever see how he like? I love
you do better than that. I've heard better.
I love how he like eats his words at the end. It's like it sounds like he's just chewing on a sandwich. He's like, Eddie, let me tell you something, Eddie Bravo, by the way, fantastic. He does like to swear and cuss on here. Did you hear how he eats them? That's so fun. But I do think there was also the conspiracy theory that he was Bill Hicks. If you know who Bill Hicks is.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if you do or not. And he's also in Austin. There's his recent case with which I will definitely not bring up. It has something to do with fishing in the sand, and whatever that was, that fiasco. There was what do you make of that? There's so much in there.
There's so much. There's so much, and and then what was the Grove?
Bohemian
Grove. Yeah. That was. I actually never knew it was him who had shot that video.
Right.
And when I found that out, I was completely surprised. I was like, "What? That's Alex Jones."
Would it make you think that, like, because the first time you've seen him, you think he's like this crazy, out of control person, and then when you realize that he did that, do you think it was legit, or did you think that he's controlled opposition, or do you think they let him in? I
still don't know. I still think he's over the top. I really do think he's over the top still. Like when I listened to him when he was on Tinfoil Hats, and great episode, by the way. But he's just that much of a his personality is so much that it's just in a way sometimes off-putting though.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I like it. I take it for the comedic value of it too. So for me, it's a kind of a double-edged sword, and that's in a positive light as well in the negative. But did you hear him talk about like Project Looking Glass?
No. Like, I know Project Looking Glass, which is I'm super interested in that.
That's one of my favorite ones. And people who don't know is basically like they have clairvoyance, or what's the other word where they can precognition. What's the one where they can put themselves in another place?
Remote viewing.
Remote viewing, and that they can change things in the present and then look into the future and see how the outcome changes. But apparently, these people, no matter what they do now, there's a certain thing that is going to happen.
An event,
a singularity, whatever you might want to call it, that no matter what they do, they can't change the outcome of the future. Therefore, they kind of shut it down. And they even brought in special people to try to do this and that and the other. And he brought that up, I don't know, a couple years ago on Rogan. And I was like,
well, this has been out for a while, though.
This has been out for a while.
So not.
Oh, yeah, that's way before that.
Yeah,
but
a couple of years ago. So, like, you mean he brought it up a couple of years ago, or did he bring it up, like, many years ago?
No, this is just when I maybe became aware of it, or maybe being on Rogan. I'm working night shift and I'm listening to the podcast, and I was just like, "What is this?" And now I've heard it a couple times, and it just brings credence to what he says. But like Patrice said, he shoves marbles in his ass. That's exactly the way he said it.
Going to Project Looking Glass, what's your thoughts on that?
I don't know, man. Do you think it's possible? Is that what you're asking me?
Yeah.
Do you think it's has some legs?
Like, do you believe that there's a possibility of this?
Why not? But B was bringing up some things and saying some things that you will hear that you have to question everything. So, not why not? Because that's a little bit like
and like she said though, like there's the something else which I totally agree. Disclosure. There's soft disclosure, or what is that?
Soft disclosure. Yeah.
Soft disclosure, or hidden in plain sight. That's what
that was the way she said it.
And they kind of have to show you their hand, but in a subversive type of way. So like through movies. So some of these movies that we've seen, like not that this is Project Looking Glass, but like Stargate. They're I actually fully believe that there was a Stargate.
So what do you think this? Okay, when you say they, what do you mean?
Like the controlling elite, possibly, as Patrick had said from episode 9, he was saying that it was a breakaway civilization who's in control. Is that it? I don't know.
I'm thinking like Saturn worshippers, like the people who like these dark.
Yeah, but in all honesty, Saturn worship is out in the open too much. I actually believe that
which makes you question. You know what I'm saying? Like there's
it's like, hey, look at over here. Pay attention. Oh, look at all these when it's something else.
Like a sleight of hand.
Yes. Like we're going to distract you. We're going to give you low level shit. We're going to hide the high level shit. So maybe is there something more? And again, I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there.
But you do not think that the U.S. government, because they've done Project Montauk and what was the other one?
Which we talked about.
What was the other one? What was the other one? The real big one?
Paperclip, high jump.
No, the one where they were like giving people LSD and all that.
Oh,
you know which one? It's listeners out there, help me out. You know which one I'm talking about?
Where they redo their mind.
Yeah, because Ted Kaczynski just recently fucking died.
Oh,
did you know that?
I did not know that.
Yeah, the great Sam Tripoli, the Unabomber was right. And that shirt got taken down too because.
Oh my God! What? Why can't I remember this? What is the
name of it? The government project.
Jeopardy class? Final Jeopardy. Yeah.
This is me wasting time while Rye Googles it.
Well, we can talk. It's okay. My phone is so messed up. It'll be
where they did mind control and things like that, mind experiments and all that. Whatever the name of that one is.
Yeah.
And if they're willing to do that to their own citizens, put sarin gas in the water and LSD and because Ted Kaczynski was part of that's why I kind of brought that up. And why wouldn't they have a project in which they reach these clairvoyant people like that Tom.
Oh.
Okay, hold on, ladies and gentlemen.
Breaking news. MK Ultra.
MK Ultra.
But there's another one actually. Operation Midnight Climax.
I would remember if it was MLK Ultra. I don't know why. Easier to remember.
But Operation Midnight Climax?
That was
something else?
That was the one that Ted Kaczynski was in, I think.
Really?
I think so.
Established in order to study the effects of LSD on non-consenting individuals.
That was in one of those big
prostitutes on the CIA payroll were instructed to lure clients back to the safe houses where they're
serendipitous?
No, surreptitiously. Thank you. Applied with a wide range of substances, including LSD, and monitored behind one-way glass.
See, there it is, ladies and gentlemen, listeners of the podcast. Proof that I helped Rye this time. He did. Because normally I just throw words out there. I've heard the words, but I don't know what they mean, and I just
you did fantastic there, Tom. You did fantastic. Thank you.
You're proud of me?
I am.
Thanks, Dad.
Well, we're really off topic though from what we talked about. No, I'm saying from our episode that's upcoming.
Oh yeah.
So why don't we
do a call to action?
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay, like this let's think of a different call to action because we asked the same thing over and over.
You want people to pick up grenades or something, right? What do you mean?
No, not jump on grenades.
Oh, see, you're so sweet. You're such a sweet guy.
Yeah, but maybe this time, I want to see maybe a little competition. Who can invite the most people to our Facebook group? Okay.
Ooh,
now,
that's interesting.
What I want you to do is whoever you invite, I want them to message us, and we're going to keep a tally. Okay. And if you get 15 people, we're definitely going to give you a shout out on the show. And if you have a story, we'll definitely feature it on the show. So this is what I want. What do you think?
I was thinking, I don't know if we're there at that point yet because we're definitely not making any money with this, but eventually maybe a signed shirt or something.
Oh, well, yeah.
That would be cool with our big dumb heads on it. You know what I mean? And
yeah, that'll be in the future when we actually start making some money and have merch because we don't have that right now.
So it was hence the call to action so we could get there later. Then we do another call.
Exactly. Let's build up the population that is the Lost Frequency listeners.
See, therefore, as you can see, I'm not very business savvy.
You're not there yet.
No.
You're jumping the gun, as we would say. You're jumping the gun.
I might be creative, but I'm not business savvy.
So this is our call to action. Invite friends, family, co-workers to the Lost Frequency Podcast Facebook group. Get them to say, hey, Joe invited me. And,
there you go.
Yeah, and we will keep a tally, and whoever comes out on top, well, we're going to give you a little bit of a prize. The best prize we can get, which is just a shout out saying, you did awesome, man. Thank you. And we'll feature you as an expert within the group. So.
Sounds great to me. Am I a group expert?
Yeah, of course you are. You're an admin.
I'm the admin. That's different. That's like
you can. You know what? You can.
I don't know that it's God powers.
Let me tell you. You can make yourself a group expert.
I don't know how to do all that stuff.
Yeah, I think I already did though.
Yeah, you do a lot of stuff for me, right? And I don't. But I make you laugh, so I think it's even Steven.
Oh, there we go.
Anyway, we really appreciate you all. Once again, send those stories to us at the Lost Frequency Podcast of gmail.com. Contact me, all the normal stuff, over Facebook, go on our groups, and all the above. And remember, you're listening to the Lost Frequency Podcast, where we bring the periphery into focus.
All right. right, we're here with Lost Frequency Podcast, and today's guest is B. Moss. B. Moss, why don't you tell our listeners where they can find you and a little bit about yourself?
Hey everybody, y'all can find me on Facebook at Crypto Normal Encounters with B Moss Facebook group and Crypto Normal Encounters with B Moss on YouTube. That's my YouTube channel also. And basically, I am. If you Google me and look me up, they have me down as a Dogman researcher. I don't consider myself that, but I consider myself more along the lines of a Dogman eyewitness. I guess maybe if you want to look at it as investigator, I would probably say I'm more like an investigative reporter in this. A podcaster who, because of my encounters and listening to several other shows and encounters over the years and being contacted by different eyewitnesses, such as myself, I've basically started my own channel on YouTube and my own group because of that to reach out to other people who've also had the same experiences or similar experiences, because people need an avenue or a platform to be able to come somewhere and talk comfortably without feeling that they're going to be ridiculed with other like-minded people. So that's what I'm doing. I interview eyewitnesses about their Dogman and Bigfoot and paranormal experiences.
That's what we do here too, B. We want to create an environment in which people feel comfortable to tell what they want to tell, and maybe connect with other people, so they feel like they're not alone. And so, yeah, that's exactly what we want to do. So it's really fortuitous
and
that
like I
we
say,
ran into you. So yeah,
and like I say, it's like we don't want to question that you had the experience. We just want to question, have questions about your experience. That's what we don't question the actual experience. We have questions about it. We want to learn more and hear more about your experiences.
Absolutely. And I don't mind sharing that with you guys. Let me do this real quick. So basically, my first encounter, did you want me to go into my first encounter first?
100%.
Sure, whatever makes you comfortable.
Okay, so, all right. So basically, I already knew about Dogman because I was as we all started out, like when it came to cryptids, most people knew about Bigfoot first. Dogman, that kind of has gotten popularity. I don't know when it actually got started. I'm going to say within the last 5 to 10 years or so that it's really taken off. I was listening to a lot of shows like Vic Condip's show, Dogman Encounters, and several other cryptid shows that were talking about Dogman and brought, I actually originally when I first heard about it, I thought it was a joke. I was like, really? People are reaching now because it's bad enough that there's Bigfoot out there, but now Dogman, a werewolf is out there, really? And so the more I started listening to people's encounters, I started listening, and then you could hear the fear in their voice or the pain, and you could feel different things from them that okay, this is not somebody that's making this story up. You could feel it. You could feel the emotion coming from them to tell their encounter. But the more I listened to them, I listened to those encounters for several years, but I never thought that I would actually see a Dogman myself. I just liked to listen to the stories. But because I had listened to so much about Dogman the night that I actually had my first encounter, I already knew a lot of the things that that people said about them, like the way they looked, all that kind of stuff. So I wasn't like a person, and I'll get right into it, but I wasn't a person seeing a Dogman for the first time that had absolutely no idea what I was looking at. So 2013, November 2013, the week before Thanksgiving, it was a weekend. I can't say if it was a Friday or Saturday night. I just know it was a weekend, the week before Thanksgiving. I'm pulling up to my parents' house. I'm kind of leaving some stuff out there. It was hunting season. I think starts in like October or something like that. I was married at the time, and my husband, who I was married to, he would be gone for 3 or 4 days sometimes on these hunting trips. And so instead of staying at home all weekend alone, I would say, okay, come on, Chloe, my little Yorkie I had at the time. And I would take her with me. We'd go visit my parents for the weekend and just stay there for 2 or 3 days for the weekend. So my parents' house, the way that their driveway is set up, they have a lattice carport. and an extended driveway on the side. So all three of their vehicles are already parked in the driveway. And the driveway is at an incline, and that'll be important later. But whenever I come over their house, there's no and they live in a cul-de-sac, and I know it's kind of hard because I don't have everything written out like in what order, so I didn't give you all the layout of the land. So the layout of the land, when you come pull off the main highway and turn into their neighborhood, they lived in a cul-de-sac. It was a dead end on that end of the neighborhood. So directly behind their backyard is a field. And that field is sometimes a cotton field, sometimes it's a corn field, sometimes it's a soybean field. I guess they just rotate out the crops. Directly bordering and boxing in that field is the wood line. And that wood line comes all the way, it comes all the way up around the field and comes right to a pathway that leads into the woods. So there's woods and there's a trail that leads into those woods. And then there's deeper woods all the way back. Now, on this night that I pull into the neighborhood, I parked under this elm tree that is like right in at the end of their yard, like next to the sidewalk, where I would park sometimes with like if all the cars were there, then I just parked down the street. So I'm parked facing the trail that I was just telling you about. I didn't turn my car off that night. I pull up, I gathered my things that I had on the passenger side floor and off the passenger seat and all that kind of stuff. Everything that I could gather from inside of the car before I got out to go into their house, because on the end of the neighborhood that they lived on, or just period, if nobody had their or their floodlights on or their house lights on, then it was really dark out there. So on this night, I just grabbed everything I could from inside the car while I was in the car. And I had planned on getting out after the fact to get my suitcase out of the back. The reason that I didn't want to just get out, I had never seen anything before. And I don't know if this is like divine intervention or I don't know why I did that, because I didn't always do that. I would get out usually and just make it easier on myself by getting out and just getting stuff. But on this night, I didn't do that. I pulled up next to that curb. I did not park right away like I would normally do. I parked, but I didn't turn the headlights off. The headlights are still on, and as I told y'all before, directly straight ahead in front of me, there's a trail that leads into the woods. I've been back there before as a kid, but like as an adult, I had never gone back there again. I never thought about it. But so after I finally gathered everything that I gathered off of the passenger seat and the floor, I look up because I'm getting ready to put the car, turn the key in the ignition, turn the car off. But when I looked back up from everything I was doing, I looked straight ahead and I thought to myself, I know that's not what I think it is. When I said that, I thought my mind might be playing tricks on me. And so I said, let me just check. So I turned the high beams on. When I turned the high beams on, I'm gonna tell y'all what I saw. But I turned the high beams on, and when I turned the high beams on, my worst fears in that moment were confirmed. Like I'm looking at a dog man. I'm looking at a werewolf right now. I couldn't believe what I was looking at, and I like right now y'all see me and y'all talking to me, and like I don't seem afraid or terrified. I've never had that experience with them, but I'm still afraid because that you're still looking at a werewolf or a dog man. It's still not something that you naturally see every day. So in that moment, and I kind of got ahead of myself there because what I saw before I turned the high beams on, so I had the low beams on. What I first initially saw when I looked up, I saw something blacker than black standing on that trail. I couldn't tell like if it was facing forward or back. I didn't know. I just thought there's something there, and I'm not sure what to make of it. There's something standing there, but I'm not gonna jump to conclusions. But I'm seeing something. It's jet black and it's tall. It's on 2 feet, whatever it is. If it's something, when I put the high beams on it, I looked, and this thing was a dog man, 8.5, 9 feet tall, jet black, blacker than the darkness. And the crazy part about that was that I just told y'all like there's no street lights on that end of the neighborhood. So, with that being said, how is this thing blacker than that? How is it blacker than the darkness of the night? You understand?
Right, you can still see it. So yeah,
Yeah, it was black. And so now maybe I could see it maybe because of the headlights, but and I say this on all the shows, on all the interviews that I've been on, when it comes to the car that I have or had at the time, 2008 Cadillac CTS, if y'all know anything about those cars, their headlights are garbage. They're garbage. They're not very bright at all. The car already sits low to the ground, so the headlights are garbage. And so, if you're driving down a back road, you're gonna have to use the high beams or order some special lights to have better lights for your Cadillac. Garbage. So, some people have asked me, and I'm gonna go into the description. How do I know? Well, I'll go to the eyes in a few minutes. Let me keep this in perspective. So I'm looking at this thing. It's jet black. It's about 8.5, 9 feet tall. Its back is to me initially. And it stayed that way as long as the low beams were on. When I put the high beams on it, it slowly turned around and looked into the windshield, into the driver's seat, and straight into my eyes. And I could not believe this. Y'all know, like a regular animal, it's going to look at the car, but it's not gonna know to look directly into the windshield and look at you, like knowing that a person is actually sitting there. It's almost like that they're more intelligent. They're I can't even explain it, but it knew.
yeah. Even a predator like a wolf wouldn't even do that.
Absolutely. Oh no. Now, if you got a dog that walks up to your car, that
And you didn't have any interior lights on, did you?
I probably did. I don't know, but I'm gonna say I probably did. I would have had to because I had a lot of stuff to gather. I had to get my makeup box and all the other crap that I had on the front seat. So I'm gonna say probably did. But in that moment, when I put the high beams on it, the thing slowly turned around to face me. It looked straight into the windshield. Looks at me. We keep an eye contact for 8.5 to 9 seconds. Now, before I go into that, I'm gonna tell y'all what it looked like. This thing is jet black. It's 8.5, 9 feet tall. It didn't look like the black German Shepherd or Anubis type Dogman that everybody talks about. And it didn't have those golden amber luminescent eyes. It had luminescent eyes, but they weren't that yellow amber color. And it didn't look like the German Shepherd type. This one had, and I did see that one like that later, but this one on this encounter had more of a broad Rottweiler pit bull type head. You know, the broad head, like mastiff Rottweiler pit bull. It had that. It didn't have the elongated snout. It had the shorter snout, like those dogs, the mastiff pit bull Rottweiler. It had more of the crop style ears. The upper body was like the upper body of a bodybuilder on steroids. It had, you could see the pecs, you could see the abs, you could see I could see the tapered waist. The arms were long. I don't remember. I wasn't paying attention to the claws or anything like that, but I saw this thing from head to toe. It had that tapered waist. You could see the hawk style legs. You could see the thighs. Everything was massive on this creature. It had the I don't know what you call them. It didn't have the human style feet like some people, like you don't hear that type too often, but some dogmen they say that have human style feet. It didn't have that. It had the foot style where the heel is off the ground. Do y'all know what I mean by that?
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, like a dog.
Yeah.
Kind of like
Yeah,
more like on a
yeah.
dog,
How long was the hair? How long was the hair? Was it short like a Rottweiler too?
It was. Yeah, it wasn't. It didn't have flowing hair on it. It was just um what do you call it? Like I guess like you a Rottweiler or a pit bull. It just had that black fur, but it wasn't. It was just what would you call that? A short coat. Just imagine a Rottweiler.
I would say a short coat or something, but
Yeah, it was like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's my favorite dog.
That's that's the type head it had. If I had to compare it to a regular dog, it didn't have the amber eyes. The eyes were a luminescent blue, um,
Whoa.
luminescent blue, and the blue that it.
like a husky, kind of like almost a husky.
You know that blue eye color that not the blue eye color, but those beautiful tropical island blue ocean pictures. That but then make it luminescent. So like a turquoise blue, but shining and glowing from within. The headlight, people ask, well, how do you know that it wasn't the headlights or eye shine from the headlights? Because for one, like I said, my car sits low, the headlights are garbage, and three, this thing's head towers way above where the headlights would have hit anyway. This thing's standing 8.5, 9 feet tall. So the headlights would have been probably mid waist area or something like that if I had just had to guess. So
B, how were you feeling when you see this? Like, this is the first time I've ever heard a Dogman who looked like this. What were you feeling? What was going through you when you seen this?
when I saw this, my first initial thought was, first of all, like I had a tear immediately started, falling down my face after I saw this because, my worst fears are confirmed. Like, oh my God, like I'm looking at a Dogman right now. My second thought was, um, shock and awe because at the same time, like, you know how you're excited and you're scared at the same time, like, oh, like I'm really looking at this right now, like, and at the same time, I'm out here by myself in the car right now, and there's nobody else outside, um, and at this is so many thoughts going through my head all at one time. I couldn't believe I was looking at this, and I just so it sounds weird because I'm a podcaster and I do this now, but so when I talk about it, I'm talking about it from a different angle. But that thing could have hurt me if it wanted to. But I was in the car also. Now, so I had several different feelings going on. It didn't give off fear. It didn't snarl at me. It didn't bare its teeth at me or anything like that. I haven't given y'all how far this thing was away. So just so you don't think it's standing right there in front of the car, it's from where I'm parked at, and like I've told people on several shows, I'm not good at gauging distance, but I've gone back there, after the fact or whatever, and parked in that exact same spot. So if I were to have gotten out of the car that night and took anywhere between 60 to 70, 80 steps, depending on how fast you're walking, 60 to 70 steps, we'll say, then that's how close it was to me that night. And I think somebody said there was like 25 yards or something like that.
Step is about, if you take a big step, it's
about a yard.
Yeah, it's about a yard. So if you're taking, something like that. Something like that.
I would say closer to like 50 yards or something.
Because I'm 5'2", I'm
Okay.
5'2", and I'm short, so I got short
I'm
legs.
6'3", so
so it took me like 60 steps.
I have a question.
I
have a question about the legs. Were they like the reverse knee? If you recall, like how the dogs have the reverse, like the backwards knee. Do you recall that?
When you say the back, people call it the backwards knee, but it's not backwards. It's like if you take your dog,
it's the ankle.
It's
the ankle.
Well, is it?
It's the knee, but it's kind of. I guess it's not backwards, but it's kind of like extends further, like this, right? It's kind of thing, almost in a way.
Stand your dog up on your dog's hind legs, and it's rounded in the front,
right?
And then it comes down.
Yeah,
like a woman wearing a high heel shoe. It's like that, like with your dog's leg.
Yes. Yeah.
That's what it was. So when it comes to that, some people ask me when it had its back to me, did it have a tail? I don't remember seeing a tail. And if some people are like, well, how could you not see it? Because I wasn't focused on the tail. Because once that thing turned and looked at me, it kept gaze with me from 8 to 10 seconds. We had eye contact for 8 to 10 seconds. And in my mind at that time, when it turned around to look at me, and we had that eye contact, I'm thinking in my head, and I always say I can't remember if I said this out loud or if I thought it in my head, but what was said by me was, "Oh my God, please don't let that thing walk over here because this will be one of those times that my automatic car doors did not lock because sometimes they wouldn't." And when I said that, and this will be the one and only time, maybe the first time of 2 times, if mind speak did happen with Dogman, then it happened in that moment because when I said that, the next thing I heard was, "Oh, it's just you. No big deal." And it casually turned its back on me. That is the one and only time that I can say, because I've heard people tell me that on shows a lot of the time about, like, them speaking to them, especially Bigfoot. You don't hear that too often as far as Dogman, but I've heard some. But yeah, in that moment, it's like I don't know if it was speaking to my fear to make me feel better, but I don't think that's what it was. I think what it was is that Dogman, when I first saw it, when the low beams were on it, it was remaining completely still, not moving at all. At all. So I think what in that moment, so I think what was happening in its mind, and I can't read its mind, but I think what was happening in that moment was that since that neighborhood, since that where they live at is on a cul-de-sac, I think they watch the surroundings. They think they watch the people. They watch the area. They know what time people are in for the night and not coming back out. That thing was probably getting ready to go on the hunt or whatever it was getting ready to go do, and I caught it by surprise. I just so happened to pull up at that moment when it was getting ready to head back there into the woods.
And it didn't expect you. It didn't expect you because you don't normally come there. So it was like, who are you? And it's trying to assess as whether or not you're a danger.
Well, so basically, what was going on at that moment, I think it remained completely still. I think it probably is used to seeing people, and when they drive up in a car, after a few minutes, they're going to cut the headlights off. I'm black enough, I'm dark enough, they'll never see me. I didn't do that. So when I put the high beam, so as long as the low beams were on, it stayed completely still. It didn't turn around until the high beams were on it, which to me at that moment meant, oh crap, I'm spotlighted now. Let me turn around and see who this is behind me. And so that's what that was answering. I don't even think it was really answering me so much, but I still heard what was projected to me was, "Oh, it's just you. No big deal." The thing never went down on all fours. It stayed on 2 feet, and once it saw me and saw who I was, whether this thing had seen me, because my parents moved in that house in 1985 and they didn't move out until 2019. So if it had been on that property all those years, or if times it's seen me there before, it's been watching from the trees when I've been outside smoking, I don't know, but it knew who I was and it wasn't worried about me. Oh, you're no threat. It casually turned around at that moment. Yeah, it casually turned around to show me.
That's exactly what I was thinking. It's like, oh, it's just you. It's like, oh, it's just you. Like it recognizes you. You only say
Yeah,
that if you recognize someone or if you know someone. Oh, it's just you. No big deal. Like someone walks through the door, and you're like, oh, who is that? Oh, it's just you. No big deal. It's a recognition.
yes,
That's the way I was thinking. It feels like this. Well, the way you said it to me, it sounds like it's like a recognition. Oh, you're not. It's you. I don't have nothing to worry about. I'm going to go on my way then.
exactly. And it didn't run off. It turned around casually and comfortably, as if like you're at home and your wife has just come home or whatever, and you're in the bathroom or whatever shaving. You hear the front door open, and you like, oh crap, let me go see that. You peek out, look around the corner. Oh, it's just no big deal. You go back to doing what you were doing. This thing had that type of attitude. It turned and casually walked on 2 feet and went headed on its original path, I think, where it was already going in the first place. So that night was my very first encounter, and after that, that's what got me to start. I decided for myself in that very moment, that's not an isolated event. If there's one back there, there's more. This is not isolated. So after that, I just said, I'm going to start taking pictures. I started taking pictures, recording videos and stuff like that on a regular basis, started paying attention to my surroundings because I was always outside smoking when I'd be over there. So because of that, maybe because of my knowledge and I know about these things, I know that people say that they hide in the, what do you call it? The crotch of the tree or whatever, like, when there's a split in the tree or out from behind. Yeah. They like to hide behind that. They like to hide in areas where there's a lot of tree cover. They're really good at blending in with that. And right behind their house, like that wood line comes up all the way to the front of that field. So,
So that's to,
mhm,
to get back to the thing where he's like, oh, it's just you.
mhm.
Doesn't it kind of creep you out? Because you're thinking, how often has this thing been seeing me? How often has it been like looking at me? how often, you know what I mean? If it's
How
recognizing
long has
me,
it been around?
how long has it been around? Like, I
Mhm.
mean, have your parents seen anything like this? Has your parents seen anything like this, or any signs or anything?
They think it's ridiculous. They don't believe in anything. I've had arguments with them about this before. That they don't believe in this at all. I don't know if they're kind of halfway, somewhat believe in me now, but I still don't think so. But just um, over the weekend or whatever, or actually yesterday at the funeral, I was glad that my mother asked my uncle a question. Another great uncle had just passed, but she asked that great uncle's brother, who was also my great uncle. She asked him. She said, "I remember that time that Joe," and I'm just kind of diverting, but this is important to bring up. And I think this might have halfway opened them up to make them a believer in other things. She said, "I remember that." She was telling Tim. She said, "I remember that time that Joe told me and Paul, which is my father, about the time when y'all were kids and you were out there in the cornfield and y'all saw a snake stand up on 2 feet and take off running." And Tim, just matter of factly, said, "Yeah, that did happen." He said, "We really saw that." Now, Tim, I'm going to say Tim's about 68, 69 years old, and my uncle that just passed, he was 75. And all the way up from, I guess, however many years ago he told my mom that to up until like a few years ago, he was still saying, "Yeah, they saw that." And so for me in that moment, standing there at the repast, like after the funeral was over with, and hear my other uncle like say, "Yeah, that really happened." In my mind at that moment, I'm like, "Reptilian?" Um, they said it ran off on 2 feet, and I said, and my dad said, he said, Joe, he's never been a type of person that would ever lie. He's always been a type of person that if he say he saw something, he saw something. I said, okay, well, I'm your daughter, and I'm telling you, there's other things out there. And then my dad brought up, well, the Bible said that the snakes used to have legs at one point. Regardless, you need to understand, even if snakes or the serpent had legs at one point, that's still a reptilian. That's still a reptilian. So you just have to understand there's a lot of different aspects to this. But no, they never saw anything. They never believed it. They never came out to look. But that night when that incident happened, after that, thank God I didn't get out of the car that night. What if I got out and been lollygagging around, just got out to go get the stuff in front seat and in the back seat, and then sometimes my parents' screen door would be locked. If the screen door was locked, I'd have to stand out there for a while until they came and unlocked it because I can't just put the key in the door. The screen door's locked. But there's many times throughout the years that I would come over there at 8, 9, 10 o'clock um, at night, and um, hold on, I'm sorry. Many times at night, there would be plenty of times that sometimes I would show up 8, 9 o'clock, and if my parents didn't think I was still coming over, then dad would always lock that screen door. But even though as dark as it was, I didn't know about Dogman yet. I would stand out there and be comfortable, not worried about anything. If anything comes out as a fox, a raccoon, possum, or something like that, but never fearful or worried. I could have just easily sat down on the carport and been fine. But after that, it made me think, oh my God, like all those years you were at the door and those things were probably back there all that time, you know?
Right.
So that was just,
Definitely. There's
yeah. So
And you never, and to go back, B, you were saying that you felt I should not get out of the car right now. Is that before you seen it? Before you seen the silhouette, or however you would say?
I don't even think it was a thing of feeling like I should. I'm saying like I didn't think about it. It was more like,
you were just taking you were doing a different routine. You for some reason were doing things differently than you normally do, and
yeah,
it just happened naturally almost.
Wow.
yeah, almost maybe like divine intervention or a guardian angel knew it was going to happen, so it stalled me and made because I usually would have pulled right. Y'all know, like when you pull up to wherever your destination is, you cut the car off. I didn't do any of that night. I didn't do any of that night. Everything was still on, and you know what? But the thing also about it was, think that I was supposed to see that. I don't think it meant for me to see it, but I was meant to see that in that moment. Because after that, and I wasn't the only one who did see it. Not well, I was the only one who saw that one. There were other encounters. I had several other encounters after that, or sightings. That was an encounter where it was full body. My nephew had an encounter years later also, and he called. He got off from work at McDonald's one night. It was like midnight, and again, it's another one of those weekends, and I'm there. He calls. He's sitting out there. You know how teenagers do? They're sitting out in their cars on, whatever, running, texting, and just they're not thinking about anything. They're not paying attention to their surroundings or anything like that. And he was blowing my phone up, and I answered the phone, and this is at their house, my parents' house too. Um, he, yeah, this is another incident there. He called inside, frantic. He's 16 years old. Tina, come out here real quick. I said, "What's wrong? What is it?" He said, "There's a dog man out here right now." I said, "Are you serious?" I said, He said, "I swear to God." He was crying. I swear to God. I said, "What is it doing?" He said, "It's standing up." He said it started off on all fours, and then it turned around. And when he said it turned around, and then it stood up. And so I rushed to the front of the house. That particular week, I know I didn't. I did come to the front of the house, but my ex-husband that particular weekend just so happened to be there at the house too with me and my parents because he was going to be hunting in that area. So he stayed there that weekend also. So I had him to walk out there and escort my nephew in because if I had to, then I would have went. But since he was there, it's like, no, you go because I'm terrified. I know he's telling the truth. And so he went out there and got him, and he came in, and my nephew was still terrified and traumatized about it after the fact. When I talked to him after he came in the house, but he was serious about that. I
Did you
don't.
see a similar one or a different? Did he like describe it to you? Is it similar or?
He said it had a long snout. I think it was in that same exact spot. So I don't know.
Interesting.
Like he's a teenager. He's not paying attention to it the same way I am. So he did say it was black. It was tall. Um, I kind of remember him saying this one had a tail though. The one I saw, I don't remember if it had a tail or not because I wasn't focused on that. But he said that it had long ears and he said it had a elongated snout. So I guess he saw a different type than what I saw. But the type he saw,
It's probably easier to see the tail too because it's easier to see the tail as well because he's on all fours. And before it stood up, it was probably easier to see. Maybe it was sticking up or something. So that would make sense.
and not only that, Keyshawn was parked. So I'm parked however far I told y'all away. I'm parked further back by the tree, like not as so he's parked several more feet forward or whatever than I was. So he's way closer to the wood line. He's way closer to that trail. So so now I don't know if y'all want to go into theories on these things or if you want me to go into my thoughts or really more.
I'm interested in theories. 100%. I'm interested in theories. I think that's what we're trying to all do. We're trying to, well, most of us are trying to do is figure out, get as much information, hear everyone's theories. Like there's no right or wrong answer.
I think so there's a lot of thought process when it comes to Bigfoot and Dogman. I've never seen Bigfoot. I've only seen Dogman, so I can only speak on that. But what I will say, as far as that's concerned, is that my theories are based on my experiences. People talk about them cloaking. I've seen them cloak. I've seen what I like to call the predator effect. Um, I've seen them cloak as far as like blending in the same way you would see a chameleon or something like that blend into trees. There's several different things that they do that's not like other natural animals do. And so you're in trying to figure stuff out, you have to put like all the different factors and common denominators and stuff like that together in order to be able to try to figure out what is going on with this to try to make it make sense. Um so when you look at all these things, there's times that I've actually been recording and taking pictures and stuff like that, there's where you might see at some points where you're looking at the head, the shoulders, and the upper body, but then there's leaves and branches and stuff like that going across the stomach or the waist area. And then below that, there's like an opening down there where you should be able to see the legs, and there's nothing there. So then, is this paranormal? Is this a supernatural creature? Is this thing able to um manifest in real time? Is this interdimensional? Is it coming through a portal right now? Like, why can I not see the rest of the body? Or even being able to, if at times like people who go out in the woods, and I didn't go out into the woods, I did later, but there's been times when I was standing right there next to the house under the carport recording straight ahead because I see a dog man. Like, this is not the same encounter. I'm telling you another one. Looking at one, like standing there, and I don't know why, but they were bold when it came to me. They weren't worried about me. I don't know, it's almost like, I don't know if I was an enigma to them or what, but they like to watch me too. Now, this one, it was a black German Shepherd type, I guess. Like the elongated snout. I have a picture of this one. I have a picture of about 5, 6 different ones. But this one looked like a Nubian.
Whoa.
Yeah, video too. Good one. Not blob squatch. Not blob squatch stuff.
No. Could you?
not blob squash.
Oh, no.
Yes.
Are you keeping those for a book, or are you sharing it with people and showing like, look at this?
I used to share them in the group and stuff like that, but like, and I'm not being disrespectful, but like, there's a lot of idiots in groups, and I'm not attacking members and stuff like that. The respectful members and eyewitnesses and stuff like that, y'all know who y'all are. Y'all understand, like, when it comes to this stuff, there's some know-it-alls and there's people who think that they just know everything, who've never seen anything before, and you're expecting a lot of the times a Hollywood version of a picture when you get these things. And what people are not looking at, think about all the professional researchers that you have out there. If the professional researchers and investigators with better quality cameras, because they're not just only using their phones when they go out on investigations and the pictures are showing up blurry, then you have to take into account at that point, you're getting some of the same interference that you get when you have a ghost hunter or a paranormal investigator going out into the field, and they go out there and all of a sudden the camera stop working, or the batteries drain and die, or you get
the batteries drain, right?
Absolutely. So when it comes to that, there you got times like when there's stuff that appears and disappears. People have reported Dogman that was there one minute and gone the next. Like, I'm not talking about running away, like actually disappearing. So when you look at stuff like that, there's so many different aspects of this that make you question it. Um, it's huge. That's why I say, for me, whether they're flesh and blood or not, I feel personally that they're flesh and blood and supernatural or paranormal at the same time. I can't make sense of it. We don't know all that there is to know about this world, but I will say that we know that in plenty of encounters, you see or you hear people talk about the fact, and I'm sure y'all have heard some of these titles: "I killed a dog man," or "They shot a dog man and blood actually dropped to the ground," or "They walked up on a dog man eating something," or "roadkill," or something like that, or different stuff like that. So that's saying flesh and blood if something can be killed. But then you got the times when something is able to mind speak, something that knows how to open car doors and go in people's houses and go into people. They've gone into people's houses, luring, knocking, tapping on people's windows, throwing rocks. Bigfoot.
We had a guest on. His name was Jason, and he was in his trailer on a campground, and the Bigfoot was tapping on the outside of his trailer, and then all of a sudden the door was open, but it didn't open, and it was inside, like going through like his stuff.
Yeah,
and it just happened.
It was like, the door didn't open. It was touching. It was touching the door, and then all of a sudden it was inside the trailer. And he's like, "There's no way it could have gone through the door, but it's in my trailer now," which is, telling you it's kind of like this interdimensional type of being where it can just
like the similarity between Dogman and that. Yeah.
That's funny that you mentioned that. You said that his trailer door wasn't open, like, but yet it was in there. It was inside.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
And what's funny about that, Dark Waters has talked about that before. And Dark Waters, I don't know, y'all may not be familiar. I'm not sure, but Dark Waters had said before that a lot of time when you get into either Dogman research, when you start looking into stuff, a lot of the time, sometimes you will make stuff. And I'm not saying it's like a tulpa. Some people might look at it like that, but he said that people who've had encounters will start having dreams about these things, and I've had multiple dreams about them. Or you will start having incidents where they actually start manifesting in your home. Are y'all familiar with Scott Carpenter?
I'm not.
I'm familiar with John Carpenter.
The horror movie director?
Yeah.
Which might have a tie-in with this in a way.
Oh, yeah, because it is hard because there's people who've been killed by these things. They've flipped people's cars
Yes.
and caused people to have wrecks and stuff like that. And then here in the last few years, there's a lot of unknown canine attacks, like in Cott County, Tennessee, last year. On the same road, one man got killed in April. The lady got killed in July. On the same road, not far from this particular address that they had given out for this, but the neighbor saw him. I can't remember, around 9 o'clock at night, or I can't remember whatever time it was at night that he saw Tony Arns, his neighbor. Whatever time it was that he saw him out there. 3 hours later, he found his body partially eaten. Partially eaten. And there was other strength. Now, I have the autopsy report for both Tony Arns and Amber Miller. Now, Amber Miller, hers was enough to make you say, "Oh God, like that is the worst crap. This is the worst. This is the worst thing I've ever heard." Like, this lady was missing 45% of her flesh.
Wow. Oh
She
my
had
God.
15-inch bite marks that went around from her upper front torso, upper thigh area, all the way around to the buttocks. What has a mouth that big? I mean, it's in the autopsy report. I got it in there right now. Not only that, at the hospital and on the police report, and if y'all pull this up, pull up Cott County, Tennessee report from last year. Amber Miller, Tony Arns. When you pull it up, you're gonna hear some of the crazy stuff you ever heard. At the hospital, Amber Miller had so many wounds on her body that they lost count. So many wounds on her body they lost count. They didn't say wounds, they said lacerations. They didn't say bite marks, lacerations. Lacerations means cuts. There's bite marks too, but lacerations, is that not claws?
Right.
Is that not?
Exactly.
That sounds like something that's cutting you up. Matter of fact, like when it comes to this,
Like these podcasts might be. I'm
go
sorry.
ahead.
These podcasts might be entertaining and for a certain amount because we do like some people like horror. But I mean, if this, it's really like horror movies coming to reality.
Yeah, when you said John Carpenter, you
It's-
weren't far off.
I guess
man.
it was like
This
a
is
premonition to what was
yeah.
going on. That is the most
disturbing.
Maybe you can send that to me. I'd love to look into that because that is crazy to me.
I will. Because you talking about the autopsy report?
Yes,
Okay. So,
yes, B.
because this
Sure.
was sent to me, I know this is official. This was sent to me by Jody Cook of the North American Dogman Project. He sent it to me not long after the incident. So it goes on. Now, Tony Arn's report, his is bad, but it's nowhere near like hers. Hers is terrifying. Both of them are. But just the fact that these two incidents happened. Now, not just only what I told y'all about her injuries. Another thing that was crazy about that situation was the fact that they put, when that whole case, I don't know if it went to trial or whatever, they put the hospital staff, the police staff, the paramedics, and everybody that had anything to do with that case on a gag order. A gag order. And it's still considered an open case
Oh,
even now.
Who does? Why would they do that?
Absolutely. Why would they do that?
Yeah, there's a reason why they do something like that. Yeah.
I guess they don't want to promulgate fear. I don't know. What would be the reason for that? I guess because they're okay. They're trying to hide it because of something they can't explain.
Or maybe it is something they can't explain and they're trying to
Something they
hide
can't
it.
explain. Now, guess what, though? The thing about it is that in both cases of these people's death, in both cases, it was blamed on dogs. But no flesh from either one of their bodies was found in any of the dogs at all, period. And then, so then when it came down to, there's code words when it comes down to this. Now, just like right now, I'm looking at the autopsy for Amber Miller, cause of death. Suspected cause of death unknown other. Now she continued to live for like a week, 3 or 4 days to a week after the incident. Now, what? Oh yeah,
What?
like, but she ended up.
So she was alive. She was alive with.
Well,
Oh
she
my
was in the
god.
hospital. Now she got taken to the hospital, but it wasn't by the police. As in a bystander, somebody driving by in a pickup truck, actually saw her out, I guess, on the street after she had been attacked. But her clothes were completely removed from her body. They blame this on dogs. She's naked from head to toe. And her now, get this. This is what y'all about to hear right now. Like, this has actually been covered on other shows, so it's not anything that's gonna be to the point where it's nothing that can't be shared on the radio. This made public news. Now, that worst injury of all is the fact that her, when she was found, or when she got to the hospital, they were afraid to do surgery to try to reconnect her arms because her arms, both arms, were ripped out at the socket from the shoulder and dangling.
Oh my god.
Dangling.
I'm never going to Tennessee, dog. I'm never going.
Now, this is in County, Tennessee. Well, don't go to Knoxville. Period. I think this is it. Don't go to Knoxville. Not in the woods anyway. That this wasn't in the woods. This is in the neighborhood.
That is so. This is this just like a regular neighborhood, like in urban Knoxville or Cottonwood?
Jimtown Road is the name of the road where she was killed. I circled some of the worst stuff on here. The So number 9 on the autopsy report is real long. It's got on this autopsy report just for her alone. It's got 13 different. It's trying to go over all the injuries, but from what I heard, this is not even everything. Now, this number 9 on here says the front and lateral. That's the front and side aspect of the right arm and forearm, along with the elbow region. Do you hear how much of the arm that is? Along with the elbow
Yeah.
region, demonstrate a large, muscle-deep, extensive trauma with subsequent debridement of the necrotic dead tissue, which is approximately 13.5 inches long and up to 5 inches long in the circumference. So it goes on to like basically go over this wound, how big it is. Number 10, the upper left extremity. That's the upper left arm has been amputated. The amputated right shoulder leaves an open wound, which is loosely approximated with surgical strings and measures 8 by 3 inches. There's a lot of stuff on here. There's a lot of stuff on here.
I believe that's enough. And is their family Amber's family? I think her name was Amber. Is this correct?
Amber's family.
Are they looking for answers? Is this like like what we're
She
doing?
said it
right
was
now?
still an open case.
Still
so-
open case. So it's like their family's like, let's find out what's going on, because this is crazy.
They were told that it was dogs. Well, everybody's like, but there's the guys who have actually come out after the fact that are now. There's a guy who's from that same town that they live in that came out on a show not too long ago, and I don't remember which show because I watched so many, but it came out not too long ago, and he was actually telling. He actually was telling the podcaster who was interviewing him that that was a BS story and about what was put out in the news. They covered so much, but the whole thing about it being dogs, those dogs were not even put down. And it's a whole lot of
Yeah,
stuff.
for
Y'all
sure.
gonna have to pull that up on YouTube. But that is one. Now I will say this: what I did find out though was that From what I heard, and I don't know, I checked on it with one of the guys who I deal with in the cryptid community. He got some information. He said from inside sources that at the scene of the Amber Miller killing, he said that this is supposed to be information he wasn't supposed to give out, but one of the largest footprints ever found on record, or not, what did you say? Yeah, one of the largest footprints ever found on record was on the scene of her, I guess, where the incident took place, bipedal. I will send you the link right on this after the
Yeah,
show
yeah, for sure, for
Yeah.
sure.
that
Yeah.
was sent to me because the guy goes into it. And if y'all have anything that I've got a few people that you might want to talk about who has deeper, extensive knowledge into the greater details of these cases and stuff like that, way more than I have, because there's a lot of stuff. And these things.
I,
Mhm.
I can definitely feel that there's so much more involved with this. This is crazy. You know, we hear a lot of the experiences, but we never hear of this side of it. Like every now and then, you hear about like a killing, like Martin Groves goes over in one of his stories in the LBL, where a turkey
A turkey
hunter
hunter, yeah,
was
predated upon.
was predated upon when he was escaping.
Well, I interviewed Martin Groves on the. Yeah, I interviewed Martin Groves on the show. I met him in person last year.
No
I met.
kidding.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I was one of the speakers. I was a panelist last year at Josh's Paranormal Roundtable Cryptid Conference, and I'll be flying out to Fort Worth in September for the second annual Cryptid Conference. There's 20 speakers there this year. It's over 20 speakers. It's gonna be Labor Day weekend, but really excited about that. Um, it's gonna be some big names in this. I'm really excited about it. We had a great time at the conference last year. But yeah, I interviewed him. I've got more people to send to you guys too. But I'll throw this out there, and maybe this is something you guys might want to talk about with some of your guests on some of the other shows. But there's other things to consider too when it comes to Dogman. The portals, the orbs, and stuff like that, UFOs and stuff like that being seen, and Dogman being seen around areas where Bigfoot. I mean, so it's a lot of stuff when it comes to this. I don't think it's by chance. I don't think it's by
I
chance.
don't think so. I don't
Why the
think so.
cover up? Why is it being covered up?
Yeah, but do you do you think it's more now? Is there something that has happened? Is there some type of technology or something that the government? I don't know. I'm definitely grasping for straws here, but what has happened into which people are possibly being eaten by what we would consider a mythical animal? Like what the hell is going on? To be completely honest, like what do you think?
Well, for me, I don't know, but if I had to give like some type of possibility for what I think might possibly be happening, I'd probably say, um, if these creatures are, we don't know how many of them there are. Per population. I mean, for each state or whatever. So if there's a lot of them out there, what if their food supply is dwindling down? What if like there's a bunch of them out there hunting, and if you really hear some of these cases when it comes to deer and stuff like that, there's times when people have been actually out in the woods hunting, and the deer came barreling through there and stopped when they got to the hunter, almost like, they said the hunters would say stuff like they never would do something like that before, but they were more afraid of what was chasing them than that moment. They just stopped. So what if these animals, what if some of them are leaving and going or migrating to other areas to get away from these things? Because some cases the animals are being killed or shredded or ripped apart and stuff like that, and not even eaten. Or people to talk about the livestock and stuff like that. So when you look at that, are these things? I'm not saying 'cause there's people who actually feel like they're these fun-loving creatures, Dogman or Bigfoot. They would never hurt a soul. They're not going to hurt you unless you hurt them. I don't. I would never go out into the woods with a weapon, because they know. Okay, just because you feel like that, don't lose all common sense. Because at the end of the day, whether you feel like that about Bigfoot or Dogman or not, there's still mountain lions out there, wolves, everything else. So it's still and crazy people. So you just gonna like throw all common sense out the window? I'd rather have it and not, maybe not pull it out if you don't want them to know that you have it. They understand if you feel like in your mind that they know your thoughts and intentions, then if you take a weapon out there, keep it in your purse or keep it in your knapsack or whatever. and just don't take it out. Tell them out loud. Because some people believe that. And I don't know. I feel like they're smart enough to understand. I do feel that. So still
I do
take it.
too.
Take your weapons out there. Take it whatever your kid is, and don't be stupid. Don't be stupid when you go out into the woods. Have a survival kit.
Take anything, dude. I would take a bazooka, a fucking a ninja star, a wiffle ball bat, something.
But
There's no way. There's no way.
I believe though, if they are, if they can do this mind speak, they can read your mind, so they know your intentions. So if you're going out there with a gun and intention of shooting one, of course they're going to maybe be more aggressive. But if you're going out there for literally for protection and you have this gun with you and it's there for protection, I'm sure that they can read that as well.
Yes, I think they can. I think that they actually do know your intentions, and I do think that they understand. I'm not going to say they understand all English. I think they understand. I just think they're a different type of creature. I do think that they understand people. So there's people who have them on their property, that people that habituate them and feed them stuff like that. But when you do that, then that can also be a problem too. Because now, once you stop feeding them, then that's a problem. Because now they're gonna. There's been people terrorized by Bigfoot because they stopped feeding them. You're gifting them, like then you. It's just you can't. Some stuff you just can't do. I'm not gonna say maybe in some cases you just have to be careful when it comes to this stuff. We don't know what it is yet. And I like what y'all was saying. He said he wanted to get a bazooka for his survival kit. You know what? I said I wanted one of the machine guns like Rambo had back in the day. I wanted one of those for my kid. And I think
Yeah.
We're gonna sell the lost frequency bazookas on our website once we get it up.
you know what? Because I don't think that assault rifles and stuff like that today. And I'm not promoting the going out there because some people want to go out there and hunt them and bring them into. No, the government, the people, whoever they are, they know that these things exist. You're not going to bring it to light because you're never going to be able to prove that body because they're not going to let it come to light. They don't want it to. There's a cover up. Do you not think that the park rangers, DNR, they know that these things are out there? They've seen them, and I'm sure that there's a protocol
course.
for this. Do y'all not know that in Washington State and the Washington State and New York State that is actually in their laws that it's illegal to kill a Bigfoot?
Really?
Yes, look it up.
Are you also not allowed to stab a dragon or smack a
That's hilarious.
that's right.
Well, going down the path of the dragons is a whole other
like that.
story.
Hey, anything's possible. There's pterodactyl sightings. There's videos and stuff like that of pterodactyls like over Arizona, North Carolina, Texas.
I've heard of that.
They said that don't exist anymore. So ain't no telling what else is out there. I mean, I don't believe I'm a conspiracy theorist, but I also feel like that the powers that be have somewhat caused us to be that way.
I agree. Yeah, we totally agree.
It's just such an interesting way of saying it. I like that. I like the way you said that. That makes me.
They've caused us to be that way. They cover up too much stuff.
They want us to know what they're doing. Is that what you're saying?
Mm-hmm. Well, no, yeah, kind of.
I think they play a little bit of their hand. It's their hand is too well, like it's not hidden well enough. Almost, it's kind of like we see some stuff and then they hide it, and that is why we become these conspiracy theorists because we've seen shit, we know shit.
Well, they know that they conspire against us, therefore we're going to come up with these things.
Hidden in plain sight is basically what you just said. And you hear people say a lot of times in Hollywood movies and stuff like that they are showing you what they're doing behind the scenes, but you're thinking it's fake. Just like that movie, what was that? Eyes Wide Shut. We were talking about the Illuminati and stuff like that.
Hey,
and you hear about the rich leading these private parties and like these. I'm not even going to go in. The kind of stuff that's going on with the secret societies and stuff. So
there's an island. There's an island. Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of us who got into like trying to understand, like when it came to cryptids and all this other stuff, you kind of end up going down this rabbit hole of everything else because it's all intertwined.
It's all connected.
Yes.
It's all connected. I know. Yeah. Yeah, and it's just different branches of the same damn shit trunk that we're being, you know, we're being like, all this shit is covered up, and it's just like, well, this is one branch, and it's all connected, by the it's all in the same tree.
Yes.
B, blew my mind with like the attack. Really, those things really they really hurt me.
Yeah. That
And I
hey,
really hope these family members get some kind of answers, because it's horrifying and complete BS
Right
all
there.
in the same thing. There it is, right there.
There's the autopsy
The
report.
autopsy report right there. She's reading it to us. The forensic center, the regional forensic center. Yep.
Knox County.
Knox County Regional Forensics.
That's heavy. That's so heavy.
Now, and that's just for her, and his is here too. Now, what I can do, Rod, because I'm friends with you on Facebook, I can just forward you the link for that, and you can pull it and download it. That's what I did, and just printed it off because I have the PDF.
Definitely.
But I just wanted to say that when it comes to this stuff, you have to be. Everything is not what it seems. I feel like we live in the Twilight Zone, and I feel like that.
Yeah, or an episode of Black Mirror.
X Files, even.
Yeah.
Yeah. All of them. Yeah, and the Matrix. We'll bring in the Matrix as well.
Absolutely. So, what was that show?
And Fraggle Rock.
What's that Netflix show? Stranger Things.
Oh,
Yeah,
Stranger Things. Yeah,
yeah.
with the upside down. Yeah, which is based on the Montauk.
Really, I didn't know that. Now, at the beginning of, I think,
Yeah, it's based on the Montauk Project.
it might have been episode 1 or 2. I
York.
can't remember which episode, but the girl ended up going into this tree and disappearing into a portal, and this creature, I guess what we in real life would call a cryptid or something like that, weird, like a rake type creature, what they call the rake or crawlers, brought her into that portal in that tree, and her boyfriend or whatever, or her friend ended up, pulling her out of there right in time, just as the portal was closing. And then if you think about that, they're showing you some stuff too, because then when you talk about David Paulides and missing 411, Steph Young, something in the woods is taking people. It's some weird stuff. Even Tom Mesnick, the guy who, if y'all get on, I can't remember if it's on Tubi or Peacock, but missing, what was it? Missing 411, The Hunted, and the story with Tom Mesnick in there. It was some weird stuff. Listen to some of those Missing 411 shows. There's times when people, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. I think they went on a deer drive.
Yeah.
They were hunting. I think I've heard this. I might, if I'm not mistaken.
He went missing, and I can't remember if they were calling out to him but on one of these episodes, they were calling out to. There was this whole search team looking for this person, and I think this might be a different one than the Tom Mesnick case. But there was a whole search team looking for this particular man, and they could hear him. He should have been just on the other side of the trees. But the more they called out to him, the more he seemed like he was fading away and fading away and fading away. They heard him for up to 3 or 4 days. A search team heard him. Like, he's right on the other side of these. But they never found him.
What?
And one other thing.
Yeah, I definitely think there's there's a veil. There's definitely a veil. We're only seeing part of what's really there. And, like you're saying, the Dogman, where you're saying you only could see like the top half of them, you couldn't see the bottom half. Like, they are able to traverse across these portals, or to move interdimensionally.
It's hard to say, because for me, I feel like when it comes down to certain stuff, I don't talk about this particular one too much, but there's one time, I'm gonna say maybe 2, that I actually saw something actually manifest in real time, like right before my eyes, and that was the one and only time that I captured that on camera. The sad part about it, because if that video had not been deleted, I didn't delete it, my mother did.
Oh shit.
But if that was the one and only time that I can say, you know what? You had a video in your phone that actually showed a dog man, or some people believe in cat people. I ain't never seen it. I'm not going to say it doesn't exist because I haven't seen it. For me, anything's a possibility now, but This thing had, I can't even tell you, it had more the feline type face, but I'm still gonna call it a dog, man. But whatever, at the end of the day, I saw it manifesting. And when I say manifest, I mean you're seeing it building up and coming into focus. Does that make sense? I guess that's the best way to explain it. Coming into focus.
I would say like something like Star Trek when they're teleporting in and then they kind of like materialize within.
Materialize, or think about a ghost. Think about a ghost or something like that. When you see them, they materialize to the point where they're now clearly into focus, and you can see all the features and details of it. I got pictures of ones that are cloaked, and it looks like they have a mist in front of their face. There's a mist or a fog, a haze in front of their face, like where they're hiding in the bushes, but they're putting this force field, for lack of a better word, in front of their face to keep you from seeing them. It's like, you really did that, like because you can still see the snout, you can still see the eyes. It's like you did it. In my mind, at those moments, I was like, really, dog man. And I wasn't trying to be funny, but it's like you really may as well have just
For real.
because you could actually see all the features still. I said, that's a terrible cloaking. That's got to be a baby. That's got to be a juvenile because they didn't know what they was doing. Your parents taught you wrong.
Dogman, sit your ass down.
Oh, you're hilarious. I can't take it. Nobody's going to take this serious.
Thank you.
Well,
No, I should take it very seriously. B,
mhm.
we're gonna have to slowly wrap this up. You have been a wonderful guest,
All right. Thank you.
and we appreciate it so much. It's been the blue eyes and the darkness. You brought in every element of the rainbow for me today, and we want to thank you so very much for coming on
Well,
here.
thank
You
you.
were an excellent, wonderful guest.
I enjoyed it with you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Tell our listeners again where they can find you.
Crypto Normal Encounters with B Moss on Facebook and YouTube.
On YouTube as well.
I'm also on Instagram also. But thank you guys for having me on the show, and y'all have a great night.
All right, that was B Moss, and wow, that interview was spectacular, disturbing, informative, and all around amazing.
Yeah, it was shocking.
Yeah,
That's the word I'm going to pull. That's my adjective of the week. Shocking.
yeah.
She was very serious about what she does. She was very descriptive. She was making sure that you, the listener, as well as me and as Ryan and I, were understanding what she's saying. And thank you, B. We appreciate it so much.
Yeah, and
the dog man with the blue eyes, dude.
Yeah, I haven't heard of the first thing I thought of when she said that was like a husky. Like the huskies have kind of like the more of like the whitish blue eye. Right. That's what I kind of thought
I was thinking. I ain't gonna tell you what I was thinking, but because I always have stupid things in my head, you know that. Like this one, do you remember Tom and Jerry? You remember that big dog, Ike?
Yeah.
Ike.
Yeah.
I was thinking
wasn't
like
it a bulldog?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking like a big black Ike. So, or the worst one that came to me. All right, sorry, B, if you listen to this, I'm not. I'm me. And whenever we meet, I'm conjuring this. Whenever we meet in the future in Fort Worth with you, this is really embarrassing, but I'm going to say it. I'm going to say it. When she said that, I don't know if this was either on or off. Once again, I don't know if this was on or off recording, off mic.
Okay.
But she said that there's dogmen.
Yeah.
And there's also cat people.
Yeah.
Possibly.
Yeah.
And I was thinking that explains furries. I swear. I don't know why my brain does that.
Well, that's not. I actually, surprisingly enough, that popped in my mind as well. But
you're scaring me now, though.
But no, hang on though. I will say actually, what more popped into my mind was Dungeons and Dragons.
Because you're a dork. I
So you can think furries and you're cool.
No,
but when I
no.
saw Dungeons and
No,
Dragons,
no.
I'm a dork.
I
And,
don't-
and you
no,
know what?
I'm a
I will
weirdo.
wave.
There's a difference.
I will wave that flag. I will wave the dork Dungeons and Dragons flag.
would-
So
I'm a weirdo.
there's actually a couple races in the Dungeons and Dragons, and I'll get butchered for the one, but the one is a tabaxi, and they're a cat people. And another one is this lion. It's this lion type cat people, but I can't remember. But why? That's what popped in my mind. I'm like, but if there's Dogman, why can't there be cat people?
Yeah. Okay. So I think the furries should start wearing Dogman suits.
Well, some of them do though.
Do they?
Well, not Dogman, but they wear like dog suits and stuff like that.
That would be cool. Like they had the big teeth coming out, and you're like dancing with a Dogman.
That'd be like the whole next level. You got the furries, and then you got like the horror furries. I don't know.
That would be great. See, that would be something I can get into. Yeah. I want to scare you first before I make sweet love to you. But
oh shit!
Yeah, that was
But that interview was amazing, and it took a turn that went very serious.
very.
It was dark. It was dark, and it brings up a fantastic point. It's not all like, oh, I saw this and I got away, and everything is hunky dory kind of thing. It really shows you another side to these creatures. If that's what we call them.
I'm trying to be serious. It's hard for me because like me being serious too much hurts my heart. It hurts my soul. Because I feel the pain inside, and I don't want it to linger in there too long. But to these people who have lost people, because of whatever's going on out there, who knows? Something is happening, and it's becoming more and more prevalent.
Well, and like she was saying, like this has been increasing in the last 5 to 10 years, and I agree. Like it seems to be skyrocketing these incidents.
Yeah, and I don't know, man. I guess we're gonna have to make one of those. They have those shark suits. You're gonna have to make a Dogman
like
suit.
those chainmail kind of shark shoots.
Yeah,
shark shoots. What? Shark suits.
Is that a Dungeons and Dragons language?
No, that's a tongue twister.
Ooh, I know a tongue twister. I made my own.
Oh, okay.
I really did. Cows chew cud because cows choose to chew cud.
Yeah, but you shouldn't put because in there. You should say cows chew cud. Cows chew cud because cows chew cud.
No, cows choose. See how I'm messing my cows chew cud because cows choose to chew cud.
Oh,
okay. It's a timing thing. Right?
Okay, I think that's fantastic. Maybe we should make one. Maybe we should make one.
It made me spit on myself.
Maybe we should make one for like the lost frequency.
Oh, like a tongue twister.
Yeah, not like the lost frequency, but like
like
Dogman does. Sorry, Dogman does. I was going to say something else completely.
Ghosts get got when they go.
Dogman does Dallas.
Dogman does Dallas. Oh my God, you are okay. I'm gonna rate this joke. I'm gonna give it a 33.
Okay, but I didn't even finish it. But
that wasn't even cognitive that I said 33.
Oh,
you finally got it, huh?
I see. Yeah.
So B, you are the real deal.
Solid.
I've never heard of a Dogman that has like a short hair, like a Rottweiler Dogman.
Yeah, and you know what? Like, what was really fascinating? I know you didn't catch on to it right away because you came at a different view, a different perspective, think a different thing. But I saw it as exactly like she was saying was, it's just you.
Yeah.
Like it was recognition that, it's just you. I have nothing to worry about. Like maybe it was waiting for someone else. Mm-hmm. And then it's like, you weren't the person I'm waiting for. I know who you are. I was waiting for, to attack somebody. Or it's just like, it's just you. Let me go.
I took it more along the lines of normally she's not there or someone's not showing up. Her parents, she's probably older at this point, and her parents are alone and living in her house. And the Dogman's just out there doing Dogman things. She pulls up. She's whatever. She said it was divine intervention. And she sees this thing. She shines the light. It turns around and looks at her through the window.
Yeah.
I think it was trying to size up, who is this?
Like, you're not a threat.
Right.
I know that's how you took it.
Right.
Yes.
And it's like, I see who you are. You're a 5'2"
I still
woman.
feel that was part of it.
But you might be right too.
But
yeah.
I believe it was recognition. You're not a threat.
Oh, you persuaded me for sure because she believed that as well, and I was persuaded by the argument.
But I have a question.
Sure.
You said it's doing Dogman things. What are Dogman things?
I don't know.
Come on, Tom.
Playing Yahtzee? I don't know.
I
love how you set me up. You were really good at that. What is
I have it sitting. I'm like, oh yes, I got to ask Tom about this.
Showing up in a Michael Jackson video in the 80s?
It reminds me of like the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer song. All the reindeer playing reindeer games.
Right.
Doing reindeer doing reindeer shit.
I always see like Dogman kind of creeping, like with his hands up, and it's just like I don't know. It's just
I agree. Like Nosferatu. Nosferatu is like
just.
But Dogman's
around.
like big steps, like trying to be quiet.
But imagine a pit bull
I am
doing
sneaking. I am sneaking up, and I'm going to catch him. Sneaking very, very slowly.
I know you guys can't see this, but I am shaking my head in derision.
Because I'm pantomiming again,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, no, it's just not just pantomime, but the voice.
It was a great
That was
voice.
creepier than the Dogman. I think I'd rather see a Dogman. Dude, I might regret those words.
Yeah, exactly.
So bad.
Yeah, have fun driving home, Tom.
Oh, dude, dude,
Roll those windows up. Roll those windows
I tell you what now. If I see one, I'm telling you what now. If I see one, I will be calling you.
Yeah.
I will be calling you, and from now on, there will be an axe.
You know what's awesome though is that try to call me.
Well, I'm not gonna
What
answer.
service? What service?
What service?
You're out in the boonies, man. There's
No.
service
You
out
said
there.
driving. Don't put him on my property, you jerk. I'm driving out there. Sure, I'll just drive
Okay.
by and wave at him, honk the horn, and be like, yeah, chorizos.
But unfortunately, all those topes will be slowing you down. It'll catch up
not
at
on the
each
highway,
tope.
not on that 2-lane road that goes
fair
through the
enough.
forest out there. I'm good.
And topes, for those who don't know, are speed bumps. They're
Speed bumps, basically.
yeah,
So,
more
yeah.
common than I don't know.
So, in a fantastic interview, Rye.
Yeah, that was
What
fantastic.
do you think? I mean, really, what do you think about that?
Man, for those, of course you don't know, but we ended up talking for almost like another 45 minutes after the interview.
And we talked like 25 minutes before the interview.
Yeah, it was. This interview could have been a double header, triple header.
What was the name of her? I'm sure if you type in B
Moss.
B Moss, thank you very much.
Was it the Dogman?
If you type in her Facebook or go on YouTube and check her channel out. She's episode 21 was the one she was pointing us to.
Yeah, episode 21 and 22.
21 and 22. I can't remember the first gentleman's name, but the second one was Martin Groves. And yeah, go to her channel, give her some traffic, give her some love, give her some likes, some thumbs up, and support what she does. I believe later this year, I think she said September, October time, she's going to be at the
Paranormal Roundtable event with Josh Turner. He's setting up another conference, and she's going to be. I'm not sure if she's going to be one of the speakers there.
I think she said she might be. It's in Fort Worth. She said it's going to be 20 plus speakers, and she will be there. And so you can go out and see her. She's the real deal. She's legit, and she's scared the living shit out of me. She scared the crap out of me, especially when she was talking about the excuse me, the ins and outs and the in-depth parts of the autopsy about the shoulders being. Oh man, that was way too much for me.
Yeah, it was
queasy.
a lot of in-depth information there. But again, that just brings to light that it's not all rainbows and cupcakes.
Cupcakes.
Yeah.
I always go with the unicorns, but I like the cupcake one.
Why not? Rainbows,
Sure does.
cupcakes. Yeah, like
That's not Dogman. It's just a dog.
I guess we just continue. Yeah,
No, it's not a dog, man. It's a dog, man.
Wow, Tom.
That was a fucking home run.
That was a bomb.
No, I'm telling
That
you
was
right
a
now.
bomber.
I told you right now. Like if you're talking about language and stuff like that and tutoring, you got me. You trump me every time. That one, sorry, bro. Sorry.
Do you really think that he thought that was a
that was a
that was
dog,
a home run?
man. Because
Okay. I know I did a call to action at the beginning.
Yes.
Let's another call to action.
There we go.
Let's rate the dog man joke.
Yeah.
I personally, on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm going to give it a 2.
You don't know what you're talking about, man.
Oh God.
Well, that's what I am. Look, if you're going to know who I am, one day,
Yeah,
I'm
of
sure.
course,
one
man.
day we're going to be there, and you guys are going to come along with us. And when we're in your region, if we're in West Virginia, Linda, come out and see us. If we're going to be in Nashville, Tennessee, we're going to see Daryl.
Or if we're in Oregon.
we're in Oregon, we're going to see Blake.
Yep.
And when you see me, you're going to realize I'm the same person on this podcast as you see me when you meet me.
I would say I'm pretty close to being the same too. Maybe sometimes a little scattered.
Until he walks. His walk is something to behold.
What?
You got a bit of a knuckle dragging walk. You got a Bigfoot walk to you.
Well, because I have big feet.
What size is your feet?
13.
That's what I wear.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's true. But you're way shorter than me.
Yeah.
You're like the letter L.
Yeah.
All right, Ryan, rate that joke.
Okay.
Rate that joke.
4.5.
Whoa.
Hey, you're
I'm
moving
striking
up.
out. I'm striking out with you today.
You're
huh?
moving up, man. You're moving up. Let's see if we can finish this. Finish
thanks.
strong.
So you guys get out there. You got to, like I said, go to the. Don't go down there by yourself. But if you're going to go to the darkest portions of your city, like San Francisco, there's some bums down there right now, or having a good old time. See if they have any stories.
But you know what though is that it doesn't matter where you are. If you're in the city, you're like, oh, I'm not going to see anything. No.
Oh, that's not where I was going, but sure, this is great.
Like I've heard people tell stories of stuff in the inner cities. You know, like there was a Dogman werewolf running beside my vehicle.
I seen a picture on YouTube today, on Facebook today,
Okay.
of a coyote with a rabbit in its mouth on top of a power line. And I wanted to send it to you because people were laughing like, haha, that's hilarious. I'm thinking, how the hell did that get? I mean, not like these power lines. I'm talking like higher ones. Like,
Are those like those crisscross girder ones? Like those?
no, not that quite. That has somewhere in between the two.
Okay.
I got what you're saying, but yeah,
like a telephone, like a power pole.
Yeah.
So it's like a pole.
and there's a freaking coyote stuck in the top of it with like an animal in its mouth. Like, how does that happen? I'm sorry to bring it up, but like you were talking about inner cities, and it sparked something in my mind.
Like coyotes and inner cities go hand in hand. I know.
Oh, do they?
Not at all. Sorry.
I think in LA.
I'm giving you a hard time, Tom. Sorry, you never caught that one.
I am just not on your. I'm not on your frequency. Wait a minute. Maybe I am. Ooh. You're on the lost frequency.
But because our frequency is lost.
Yeah, with us too, for sure.
We're lost. Speaking. Okay.
So
let's
reel it in.
Let's reel it in. I agree.
Let's use Riser analogy. Let's reel it in.
So, if you have any of those stories, if you've seen anything, why don't send us a message.
Stories, right? I'm putting you on the spot. What kind of stories?
Well, UFO,
the time that Batman
abduction.
brought you a cake. Come on.
I really would like to hear some glitch in the Matrix stories, or if you have done any type of research into paranormal, any type of research into lost history or anything like that. Hook us up.
I'm looking for gnomes and small forest humanoids. I'm talking like these really small. I'm talking like 2 and 3 foot ones. I've heard stories. I've seen things. On these, Rye's distracting me. What are you looking at, Rye?
I don't know. Do you see the light?
Yeah, I see the light, but it could be a plane again.
It could be a plane again. I know that's but this one looked like it appeared out of nothing. But it could have been a cloud bank.
It's a plane. You can see the tail. Riley's looking at.
I can't see. I got to wear glasses.
I see the plane. Riley sees planes. Yeah, all these kind of stories. Gnomes, elves. There's a reason why it's in these Dungeons and Dragons. I'm sure you have elves in it, right?
Yes, we have elves. We have gnomes. We have. There's.
Yes, and I've heard about people in England. They
dwarves.
seem to be fairies. I heard in England
There's fairies.
Yes.
Dungeons and Dragons, fairies. Yeah.
Oh, I was talking about the real.
Well, Dungeons and Dragons is real.
It is. It is real.
Actually, I was listening to Paranormal Roundtable with Josh, and he had the guy.
Dungeons are real. But,
well, okay. He had a guy on there was talking about where all this people Stephen King, where do they get all this information? And he believes that it's like
LSD.
No, he believes that it's actually coming in from other realities or other truths. Like that really is real. So the person who created, Dungeons and Dragons, created these things from something that was feeding into his mind from another reality, possibly. Like there is a alternate dimension. And
that makes sense.
Yeah,
because if you think about the only thing that people are allowed to have in this what we would call base reality,
I
right?
Like that, yeah.
Is they only allow for 2 things: the muse and imagination. But what do you think? Everything that you've been inside, like a car, someone had to pull that from somewhere else because it didn't exist here before they created it.
I agree. Now, hear
You
me
know what
out
I'm
on this
saying?
one. I actually
Sure.
believe the most powerful thing we have, I know people be like, oh, love. No, as imagination. I actually believe our imagination is much more powerful than you give it credit for. And that's why I believe that as you get older, they kind of stomp it out of you.
Well, I'm going to say that's fine. You can have your opinion, but I'm definitely going to go with love.
All we need is love.
You'll never. I'm telling you, bro. I'm telling you, it's the most powerful thing there is, and it can also
Okay.
hurt a lot too.
They can-
I love you guys.
Oh my God. Okay, so
He's still looking at the plane.
no, there's no plane. The plane. No,
Plane of existence. Bam.
why don't we? I think we should wrap this up then.
wrap
I think
it
we're
up?
good. Yeah.
Yeah.
And definitely shout out to B Moss. I really appreciate you. It was pretty short notice, and you totally were on board with it. So thanks.
And thanks for laughing at my joke. I finally got you. It took me a minute, but I got you.
So, and as we were saying though, and I know we've been totally distracted, but circling back, any experiences, email us, the Lost Frequency Podcast at gmail.com, or you can find us in our Facebook group, the Lost Frequency Podcast, or send it to us in Facebook as well.
You can find me. My name is Tom Franklin. You can DM me.
Yep.
Or
Rivos, and send us a message.
Yeah.
Or even if you're on YouTube, send us a message on YouTube.
Yes.
If you're watching on YouTube and you're like, oh dude, I've had this great story, write it in the comments. We'll get back to you, and we'll hook
do they
you
have
up.
that on TikTok too? Where they can
TikTok, yeah.
I
Yeah, and
don't
TikTok
know.
too. You can send us the comments on TikTok.
TikTok too. It's almost like TikTok too.
TikTok too.
Exactly.
That would
I
be a
don't
whole
know.
new other platform.
Yeah, but send those stories out, guys, and share it with your friends. And like Rye said at the beginning, hey, try to get a couple people to come on. Someone that you at your work, be like, hey, you. One time you said something about the boogeyman.
You would like this group.
You would like
Join this
group.
Facebook group.
And join us, and let's have some fun. Let's delve deep into this stuff. Let's find out what is really going on, whether it's a government conspiracy, alternate dimensions, separate realities, no matter what it is.
I feel that like every episode we dig a little bit deeper. We pull a little bit. We pull one of those covers off a little bit more. We go in a little bit deeper.
Covers that you didn't even know there was to be pulled off. That's what's getting me.
A what?
Covers that you didn't realize were there to be pulled off.
Yeah.
That's what's killing me right now.
Each layer. We're just removing layers of layers, and we're
Yeah,
going back to
like
onions
layers
again.
of an onion, and underneath that's a radish. Yeah, we want to thank you all very much for watching us, and remember, not watching us, listening to us.
Well, watching us as well. Could be YouTube if
Yeah,
this
we'll
is
get
on
there.
YouTube.
We got to take a couple more pictures of you and me. For the ladies or the gentlemen.
Yeah.
I'm not specific. Anyway, you're listening to the Lost Frequency Podcast, where we bring the periphery into focus.
And it wouldn't be the end of an episode without a motorcycle driving by.
Signing off. It's a dog, man. 2 times the charm.
We close with good night, good luck, and God bless all of you on the good earth.
Long live the cause of freedom.